Welcome into the Slobberknocker Sports Podcast, episode 99.5.
99.5.
Yeah, we've been prolonging doing the 100th episode because we want to do something special for it, and we've had some planning issues and trying to get some fun people on, fun guests on for the show. So instead of actually making this the 100th episode or skipping the podcast entirely, we decided to do a sub 99.5 podcast so we can still talk about the NFL, still talk about college football, all our normal stuff, but not actually have the 100th episode. So it might be a little bit of a cop-out, but that's okay. And we've had some technical difficulties around the studio here today, but we're finding a way to get this rolling. We're going to have to be out of here in about an hour 10, so this won't be a long show, but we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Some wacky things in the NFL yesterday. Had a crazy comeback from the Texans that we'll get into.
That was crazy.
We had a bad Monday Night Football game where my man Mike Tomlin, who has now been 3,247 days since his last playoff victory, and it's been like 14 days now since his last regular season victory. Or did they win last week?
It won last week.
Okay.
They beat the NFL-leading Indianapolis Colts.
That's correct. They did.
They did.
And they came out and laid an egg against the Chargers. Got absolutely shit on. Couldn't even cover my teaser +9 for me. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mike
that's
Tomlin.
what you get for all the years of shit talking. You back Mike Tomlin. He says, I'm going to teach this honky a lesson.
He proved me right.
I'm going to teach him a lesson.
Are they 5-4 or 5-5?
Yep. No, they're 5-4.
5-4.
Go 9-8.
They can only win 3 more games for me to win the bet. It's going to be close. We'll see. It's going to be a close.
No, I think they have to win 4 more, right? Because they can go 9-8.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they could, if they win 3, they can only win 3 more for me to win the bet. If they win more than 3, I lose.
We looked at their schedule. It's a challenging schedule.
It's
I believe.
not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
But they do have some. That division. Now that Baltimore is healthy, that game is. How many do they play them twice? Let's see. We'll look at it real quick, just for sake of this being an important part of the show. Okay, they still have the Ravens twice. That hurts, and they still have at the Lions. But they do have the Bengals, the Browns, at the Bears,
Don't disrespect the Bengals and Joe Flacco.
Ooh, I don't know, dude. I don't know if they're going to get there. It goes versus the Bengals, at the Bears. We'll probably split those. Versus the Bills, at the Ravens. Those are probably both losses. Versus the Dolphins, at the Lions. At the Browns versus the Ravens. I don't know. It's going to be tight. That's going to be real. I think they're going to be 8-9 or 9-8.
That's what they're going to, for
it's
sure.
It's going to be one of the two.
But you know what Mike Tomlin does? He's going to go 9-8.
He might.
They will go 9-8, and they will miss the postseason.
Well, yes. If they go 9-8, and this year they're going to miss the postseason,
right?
Because right now I think Kansas City went into the week 5-3 and was out of the playoffs. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. There's a lot of teams with winning records there, and Baltimore's coming on now too. So they've won 3 straight. Anyway, all right. You have a Brookie of the Week. I can't get it up at the moment, or we could play it, I guess, on our computer at the same time. It's from a high school football game. You want me to play it?
Yeah.
Like I can play it on mine.
Play it on your computer. Yeah.
All right. So talk about it. While it's going.
Believe I would have to look, and I think his name was Isaiah Davis. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But we will get the video on there for the podcast. He looks to be about 400 pounds. I believe he's a high school kid. He comes up with the most magical pick you've ever seen. And there's a rugby scrum for like 55 yards. He stays on his feet. They can't get him down. And it was just, that's why he won the Brookie. He was pure grit, pure determination. I don't know if we've told the people at home that Brooklyn almost died again. I don't know if we touch on that next week. Yeah.
You gave your Brookie to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That week.
Rightfully so.
Yes.
I mean, that's what the award's named after. Toughest fucking dog on planet Earth. But yeah, that you will enjoy that highlight when we can't get it up. It is pretty spectacular. It's legitimately like a scrum of 10 people walking down the field for 50-plus yards. So shout out to that kid, Brookie of the Week, and an assist from Jeremiah who sent that to me and goes, this kid has to be the Brookie of the Week this week.
That was incredible. I'm very impressed by that.
Yep.
All right. We're going to go to some bad beats before we jump into the NFL. I've got 2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to tell you when to press play because we're having some technical difficulties, so we're going to have to do this a little different. But on your screens, if you're watching this along with us, you'll have it the same way. All right, so we got the Bucs and the Patriots. The total in this game, 48.5. We're at 37, and you see Baker there completing a pass on 2nd and 9. It's now 4th down and 3, under 2 minutes to go. 37 points. We're at 37 with under 2 minutes, and Baker looks like he's getting sacked. Incredible to even get out of that. That's a typical Baker play.
Yeah.
And gets it to Rachaad White, but he's short. Now, look, minute 47 to go. The total is 48.5. You need 2 touchdowns.
Oh, this is a pretty bad one.
You need 2 touchdowns, right? 2nd down and 9 now at the 30-yard line. And they're going to give the ball to Travion Henderson. Henderson looks like he falls down here, breaks a tackle, and now he's going to sprint outside. He's gone. 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. He's gone. Now he's going to look back to the sideline to ask whether to go down or not. If he goes down there, the Bucs have 2 timeouts, but there's only a minute 30 to go. The game is probably over.
In the moment, like I think if Vrabel could have gone back, he would have gone down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so instead, he scores, and now the Bucs get a chance to go score. And if they score on this drive, they're going to go over the total. They're down to the 50-yard line. A couple plays later, they're at the 31. Baker, it's 3rd and 10. Going to swing it out, find Sterling Shepard for a first down at the 20. 45 seconds to go. You're sweating bullets now. It's 2nd and 1 at the 11. There's 38 seconds to go. Bucs are out of timeouts. Baker back to throw. He's going to look. He's going to fire it, and Tez Johnson is going to make a one-handed catch.
Tez Johnson's been having a good last month.
In the back of the end zone, and that is a bad beat right there. So that's nominee number 1. Tez Johnson.
That's a pretty bad one.
It's a pretty bad one. Here's a second one, okay? Now, this opened at Jacksonville plus 1.5. Now, a lot of people might have got it at a better line, but that's what it opened. The Texans are down by 19 here in the second half, okay? They're down by 19, and I think I fucked up here because it's kind of, is it rewinding on yours right now? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's going to be 3rd down and 10, 12:21 to go. They're down 19, and you're up 19, and you're catching 1.5, okay? And Davis Mills, the backup quarterback for the Texans, is in. He started and played the whole game. But you're needing a backup quarterback to lead this comeback. So 3rd down and 10. He's going to fire over the middle, and he's going to find Jaden Higgins in the end zone. Touchdown Texans.
Shout out Big Dog, by the way. He's a big Davis Mills guy.
He does love Davis Mills.
What a comeback.
And so now they're going to go for 2 here to make it 11. This is going to be an incredible catch in the side of the end zone, one-handed, and it's going to make it an 11-point game now. Okay, Texans are fired up. Still 12-16 to go. Next possession after a stop. Still 10 minutes. Mills back to throw from the 49-yard line. Another incredible catch. This time it's Nico Collins. He's hyped. The Texans are on the move. They're in business. Fast forward a couple plays. 3rd and 3 inside the 10-yard line. Mills in the shotgun. Going to get the snap. Looking, trying to find somebody. Finally fires, and he's going to find Dalton Schultz in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. And now it's a 5-point game. They're going to go for 2 again. And so this is a big 2-point conversion if you have plus 1.5 because they don't get it. Now a touchdown, they would go for 2 on the second one. You could still cover. So it's 2-point conversion here. Mills going to roll to his right, going to fire a pass into the end zone, and it's knocked down, incomplete. Intercepted, actually, in the end zone. So you're up 5. You're catching 1.5. And even if you do blow this, there's going to still be a chance to cover. Now, Trevor Lawrence throws the ball. It's tipped and incomplete on 3rd and 4. They punt. Next possession, 3rd and 10 from their own 7-yard line. Needing a touchdown with 6 minutes to go. Mills throwing. Schultz, again, he had a huge game. Catches it here.
Gunslinger.
Crosses the 25-yard line, and now we're in business.
Oh, look at that. Blood on the center's
blood
hand.
on the hands.
God.
You know it's going to go the Texans' way at this point. It's just how is it going to go their way? Mills at the 43, firing to the left side. It's caught. This time, I believe it's Higgins.
How many yards passing did he have? Was it just all the fourth quarter?
All the fourth quarters.
Yeah.
Now from the 50-yard line, they're going to give it. It's going to be Nick Chubb, old man winner, stumbling and rumbling down to the 38-yard line. And now they're inside the 25-yard line. Mills in the shotgun here on 1st and 10. He's going to look to the end zone. It's going to be incomplete, but a flag is going to come in, and now we have a PI with 1:19 to go, and it's not looking good if you're a Jags fan. But couple of penalties here. Back them up. It's 3rd and goal from the 14. From the 14-yard line. Mills back to throw. Got to get a stop here. No one's going to stop him. Someone's got to tackle him, right? Someone's got to tackle him, but they don't. And he gets into the end zone. But keep in mind, you have plus 1.5 if you got it open. And so you're covering here, and the Texans are definitely going for 2 because they want to make it a 3-point game. There's only 30 seconds to go. Okay, you're covering plus 1.5. Mills in the shotgun here. Going to get the snap and drop it, and he can do nothing but fall on it. And so now the Texans are only up 1. You have the ball. It's 2nd and 19 now with 22 seconds left after Lawrence took a sack on the first play. Jags are out of timeouts. Just can't have a disastrous play here. And Lawrence going to scramble and run for a bunch of yards here. He's going to scoot out of bounds for a first down. He's all the way to the 45-yard line. You're good. There is no way.
Huge mistake by the Jags, by the way. Let him throw here.
Absolutely it was.
Throw this thing away.
And here's Trevor Lawrence back with 7 seconds to go. This is probably the last play of the game. And all of a sudden it's loose and it's intercepted, and big man is not stopping. He's going all the way to the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
Sheldon Rankin into the end zone. And if you had plus 1.5, that is dead. D'Amico going nuts. Incredible comeback by the Texans.
In my bar fantasy football league, I am playing the Texans defense, and I believe that play is going to cost me the win as well.
Oh, no, that's brutal for you.
I was watching that, and I was cheering for the Texans. I was like, wait a second. I think I'm playing the Texans defense.
Bad beat for you, too.
Pretty brutal. I will say that my guess would be that most people were probably on a different number in this one.
Yes, they probably didn't cover already.
Right, yeah. Well,
once
yeah,
they
correct.
scored the last one,
Correct,
which
yeah.
in itself was a pretty bad beat.
Right. But the people that had the opening line,
if you had 1.5,
thinking that Davis Mills was going to play and it wasn't going to be Stroud, yeah.
If you had plus 1.5, that's
Liam Cohen's over there spiking shit on the sideline. That's a bad loss, man.
If you had plus 1.5, what's worse, that one or the one where the Rams blew the 17-point lead and the Eagles blocked the kick and returned it? Which one's a worse beat?
Probably the Rams one, just because we've seen, whether you're doing the pitchy woo-woo or whatever, I would say the Rams one, just because no one ever, like, you block the field goal, the game's over. No one ever picks it up and tries to run it. Unless it's a 400-pound man.
They absolutely
and he's going to do it. Yeah,
and I think, why Sheldon Rankin scored, too. He had a direct path to the end zone. There was 0 seconds left.
Yeah, there was zero thought in his mind. He's going to score.
If there's 30 seconds left, if that's the first play, he probably goes down. So the fact that it was the last play of the game, he rumbles and stumbles to the end zone. Okay. Well,
those are two pretty bad ones.
They're pretty. That was a pretty bad week for bad beats in the NFL if you were on the wrong side of those. All right. Let's dive into some things here in the NFL. Let's start with what happened earlier today. Brian Daboll fired in New York. Yep. Jeff Schoen, the GM, has kept his job, and I was reading on ESPN that he will be a part of choosing the next head coach. I guess they're giving him the benefit of the doubt for drafting Dart and Scadaboo this year, and so that's the only reason I could think of for why they would keep him. He's been a disaster. Daboll being fired, I will say, as a big dog, and now Turner has been saying this lately. To my credit, I said Daboll would be fired.
Yeah, you did.
I thought that this is exactly what would happen.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what I said.
I do. The thing with him, though, and this is why I was somewhat caught off guard by it. I think what's his name was the guy that always calls games for Rich Eisen was saying he was surprised with it too, because you've given this guy all this leash, all this rope, and now that you actually do have a good core, and when they were like when Dart and Scadaboo were together on the offensive side of the ball, they were fun to watch. I think really ultimately that got him fired is just the blown leads, right? I mean, you're winning these games like the one in Denver when they're up 17 points and you lose that game. Losing Neighbors for the year obviously killed him as well. It is funny to me, though, because I think Daboll, as soon as Dart came in and they won that game with Scadaboo and was playing well, I guarantee you was taking his lucky stars. Like, I'm gonna get to keep this job.
For sure. He did think that.
Like, the fact that I survived this long through all this shit, and now I have my guys, I guarantee you he's very frustrated, especially because I do think the Giants have a very nice offensive core moving forward, depending on, the health the health of those guys.
I mean, they have
offensive line's getting a little bit, they're still not great, getting better, but you draft offensive line.
People forget about Neighbors. They haven't had Neighbors, right? Like, he's going to be back next year.
So, I mean, I thought he was going to get fired 2 years ago. So I'm not surprised he got fired. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me, right now, necessarily why. Because I guess from my standpoint, the season's over and Daboll's known as a good quarterback coach, right? So, why wouldn't you necessarily want Dart to spend the next 8 weeks with him anyway?
Right.
That's my theory on it. I'm not entirely sure. And they're obviously paying him to go away. So it's do you want to, I don't know. That's, maybe could have been one of those Titan situation where it's the GM or the head coach has to go now and it's going to be Daboll. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, credit to you. You did call it.
Credit to me, Bailey. I got it right. I told him. Turner denied it. He said, no, I think Daboll's going to keep his job. I said, no, the big man's going down, and he's going down fast, and he's going down not swinging, because that was a horrible loss yesterday.
But isn't the GM the one who chose to extend Dimes, correct?
Yep.
But, I mean, Dimes has been pretty solid this year. Besides, I know he's starting to look more and more like Danny Dimes.
He threw a pick and fumbled 3 times yesterday,
Yeah.
even though they only recovered one of them, and he had, I think, 4 or 5 turnovers the week before. But, yes, I do agree. Like, and look, and if you can say it's funny because, Daboll won Coach of the Year in 2022, I believe.
Right.
When Dimes and them
won a playoff game,
beat the Vikings and Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, and they won 10 games. So, it goes both ways. You could blame. There's a lot of blame to go around in New York. I think the best thing for them, if you're gonna do this, is just to clean house and start fresh.
That's what I would do.
I don't understand why it's like you're not. It's like you have gangrene on both legs and you're just cutting off one and trying to save the other. It's like just cut them both off and save the body, right? Save for the future. But the Giants are gonna stick with the GM. Daboll's out. It'll be interesting to see who gets that job.
I think it's gonna be a fairly, you never want to deal with the New York media, right? And the Giants have not been good for a while. It's still a marquee organization in football, I would say.
Can I make one prediction on coaching I just thought of? And I thought about this last week, and I think I'm going to be right here.
Let's
because credit to me on this last one again.
Credit to you.
But
I've had several credits to me the last couple of weeks, okay? Please.
Can you tell me who you think, if you can guess who I'm going to say, is going to get the next Miami Dolphins head job when they fire Mike McDaniel at the end of the year?
The next Miami Dolphins.
Who do you think will take that job? Who do you think they'll offer to and will take it? Who I'm going to say?
I would get. If you have Mike McDaniel, I would like to go from Mike McDaniel to John Gruden.
Okay, that's a good prediction, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. Is you're going to not John Gruden, but you're going to go from a guy who is laid back, uncontrolling, allows guys to roll into practice whenever they want, all offense, to the complete opposite, and the complete opposite of that is Bill Belichick. Here's why I think that will happen. They are in the Patriots division, and for me, I think for Bill Belichick to leave North Carolina, where he said, "No, I'm never leaving," whatever, right? It would have to be an opportunity for him with some sort of motivation, and being in the Patriots division is highly motivating, I think. You have the ability to go back to the NFL. He's probably not all that happy in college. I don't see him just turning the North Carolina program around. It hasn't been that great so far.
Right.
Although
credit to them playing better lately. They won again, right? Yeah.
He's an all-time great coach. So of course, and next year, I don't think this is a Deion Sanders type deal where it's like the guy can't coach, and when he gets some talented guys in there, they'll be good like for half of a year, like last year, and then it's back to shit. I think Belichick, if he stayed at North Carolina, would eventually do well. Do I think they're going to compete for a national title? Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. The ACC is so bad that if they got good enough to compete in the ACC, could he get to a college football playoff? Yes, that's far and away. That's a far way away. But I'm just saying, that's my prediction. I think at the end of this year, they fire Mike McDaniel, and I believe they go out and they hire Bill Belichick to be the next Miami Dolphins head coach, because that's where, wasn't that his first or second? Wasn't he at Miami or no? Or am I thinking of, no, Saban was at Miami. He was in Cleveland. But I think that's where he's going to go. I think he's going to end up in Miami. Plus, look, Bill likes the young girls, and South Beach, Miami has a lot of those.
No, dude, he's a one.
Is he tied down?
Yes,
you think he's never going back?
Loves Jordan.
We'll see.
It's not a bad prediction. I just when you're 70-something years old, he's 70, isn't he, Belichick? I don't know. It's like that's the direction you want to go as an NFL team. But I'm with
73.
you. 73. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Him and Saban are the same age. I just looked it up. I think they were 72 and 73.
Speaking of the Dolphins, big upset yesterday. They were a 9.5-point dog against Buffalo. Buffalo's coming off of 6-2. Buffalo was coming off of a huge win, beating the Chiefs, a game we both thought Kansas City would win handedly. And it wasn't like the Bills just won the game against Kansas City. They dominated it and led the entire way the final score wasn't indicative of how good they played in that game. They go on the road in a place where they haven't been great in Miami. A lot of close games. They have lost games there in the past, but I just didn't expect this with how bad Miami's been. With how bad Tua's been and Mike McDaniel's job uncertainty, and I know they said that he's safe till the end of the year, but they've had injuries. They just got absolutely shit on, and it was mostly by Devon A-Chain. I mean, he ran for 174 yards on 22 carries and 2 touchdowns. The team as a whole averaged over 6 yards a carry, 197 on the ground, and the Bills could not run the football.
Did you see, by the way, Mike McDaniel pulling his car, like all the there's a Bills hangout in Miami where all of them go watch the game, kind of like Anchor Bar here, and Mike McDaniel rolled around and was like looking at him out the window, like trolling him. Yeah, no, it's a we'll find and put that on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a ballsy move when you're
funny
3-7
from the old nerdlet. Mike McDaniel. Look, I think this is what we've touched on a bunch. This is why you don't like Sean McDermott. You look like the best team in football. You dominate the Chiefs at home. And like you said, game wasn't even close. Patrick Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown pass for the first time in 18, 19 games, I think.
The defense was impressive in that game.
Defense is impressive. Then you go into Miami and that's, to me, and I'm not near as big a Sean McDermott hater as you are. To me, that is just not having your team ready to play a football game. It's a divisional opponent. It's the NFL. All these guys are good. Any given Sunday, you can lose. You can lose at any moment. You did not have your team ready to play.
Yeah.
In a blink of an eye, it was 13-0, and the Bills' offense was fucking sleepwalking. I mean, they couldn't do anything. I mean, I had Josh Allen. In several fantasy leagues, I had Josh Allen and Cook paired up to each other, and I was like, oh, they're going to have a really good game against Miami, and they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I think...
Put up trash time stats, but they got absolutely dominated in the game. It just didn't make much sense at all, really. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming. What'd you say the line was?
9.5.
Yeah, for a divisional game, that's crazy.
On the road.
Yeah, but I mean, the Dolphins have looked terrible. They're without Tyreek, obviously.
Their only wins before this were the 3-win Falcons and the 2-win Jets.
I mean, they just got absolutely shit pumped last week by the Ravens, right?
At home, 28-6.
And a non-competitive game. So, yeah, that's just Sean McDermott not having his team ready to play. It's as simple as that. I mean, you dominate at home against the Chiefs, and you just lay an egg on the road against the Dolphins. You can't do it.
You can't do it. And look, this could cost them because they've already lost to the Patriots once. The Patriots won again yesterday. They're now 8-2. So the standings,
and they hold the tiebreaker. I think they're going to win that. I think the Patriots will end up winning the division.
It sure looks like it. Now, look, Buffalo beats New England the second time. They're hequal in the loss column, and they split the series. So that could happen. But that second game is in New England.
Here's the Patriots. Yeah, here's the Patriots rating schedule: Jets, Bengals, Giants, Bills, Ravens, Jets, Dolphins.
Yeah, they're going to maybe lose 2 games. Maybe.
And so the Bills would have to basically run the table and beat them.
And the Bills' remaining schedule is the Bucs at home, at the Texans, at the Steelers, versus the Bengals, at the Patriots, at the Browns, versus the Eagles, versus the Jets.
Yeah.
There's three potential losses.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to lose at least one
more
game.
And it's not even that. Because it's more than that because Vrabel has the Patriots, sorry to rub salt in the wound, Bailey, but Vrabel has the Patriots ready to play every week regardless of who they're playing, right? And so it's like the odds that the Patriots lay an egg are much lower than the odds that the Bills lay an egg. The Bills could win against the Bucs, win against the Texans, win against the Steelers, and then come out at home against the Bengals and lose. That's the type of shit that happens under McDermott, like you're saying. Concerning, too, because I think the Bills need home field advantage this year to win a Super Bowl. I think they have to have. I think the road's got to go through Buffalo. Now, the positive is, as long as they're not going on the road to Kansas City, they probably are okay in any other environment. So as long as they, as long as that happens, but you don't want to. But you don't want to go to Denver, right? Denver's got winning that division right now. You don't want to go to Kansas City if they end up coming back and winning that division. There's some places you don't want to go to Baltimore, right? So there are places you don't want to have to go, and this is a loss that can really hurt given the remaining part of your schedule. So bad loss for Buffalo. Josh Allen, they just put too much on his shoulders. And then on the other side, the Patriots yesterday were impressive. The Bucs come in, they go up 7-0. Drake May just seems to be that guy. Like, I think Drake May is that dude.
I don't think there's any question at this point. He's just a very good quarterback.
He's a very good quarterback.
Gonna be a top 10 quarterback in the league for the next at least decade.
He's 5th in the league in QBR. He's 3rd in the league in touchdowns. He's 3rd in the league in passing yards.
He's probably like rushing yards quarterback. He has to be in the top 5. He runs too.
He runs plenty.
He's
athletic.
Deceivingly athletic.
Deceivingly
people don't realize how athletic he is. I saw him take off in a game the other day, and he had like 30 yards of the end zone and got there easily. I'm like, damn, Drake May can run.
He can run.
I do remember that at his North Carolina days. He definitely could run. I just didn't know how much of that would, translate to the
He's
NFL.
The prototypical guy that you would want in today's league, where it's like he's an incredibly talented passer. He hangs in the pocket. He can make every throw in the book. He's cerebral, but then he has the ability to move and scramble. He's not a statue. He's the opposite of a statue. He's actually in the top 10 in terms of athletic quarterbacks in the league. So he has every tool you could ask for. And look, he's doing it with what last year people thought was the worst offensive line in football. I know they've gotten a little bit better. They have. They've gotten better. That's helped him. But, the receivers aren't that great. I mean, look who he's throwing to, right? Like they drafted the running back Travion Henderson, but it's like yesterday Mac Hollins led the team in receptions with 6 for 106.
He's doing it with just a
Kyle
Motley
Williams
crew, just a random. I mean,
Big Dog was trying to argue that Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver in the NFL yesterday. That was his take.
He wasn't.
Yes, he was.
I would have had to been there for that. And Big Dog did not say that.
He did say that.
No, he did not.
He goes, he's a top 5 receiver.
Don't believe
By
it.
the way, I'm pretty sure Stephon Diggs suffered a concussion. He on the last play of the game on the onside kick recovery.
Shout out. Oh, did he?
I think he did.
Shout out Stephon Diggs. He's got, Bailey will know this. He has 2 baby mamas pregnant
I knew you were going there. Yeah.
Nicki Minaj and some other black model. I don't know her name, Bailey. You got any info on the other baby mama or just Nicki Minaj? Oh, sorry. Cardi B. My God. That honest mistake.
Hold on. How dare you?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Bailey. You said Cardi B and Nicki Minaj?
No. Cardi B. I was getting Nicki Minaj mixed up with
That's
Cardi
sick.
B.
It's sick of you. Wait, Cardi B and who's the other one though?
We don't know. Some other model.
What does Cardi B think of the other baby mama? Are they together? Are he and Cardi B together?
Him and Cardi B are supposed to be together, from my understanding.
Tough to swallow that pill. Wow. Okay, sorry. Not to get off track, but interesting stuff there.
Yeah, no. Yes, Diggs is putting some.
He's
putting up some good baby numbers.
I was about to say Drake May's putting up some good numbers in the NFL, and Diggs is putting up his own good numbers in his own right.
He's not on the Anthony Edwards program though.
Diggs is putting up some numbers in his own right. All right, moving along in the NFL. Let's talk about a few other things. Let's go. We saw the Texans come back against the Jags. I'll touch on this real quick.
Right. Credit to Big Dog.
Loves Davis Mills. I'll give Big Dog credit where it's due. He's a Davis Mills guy. I don't like Davis Mills, but he was awesome yesterday. He actually
for a backup, he's great.
No, he's great for a backup. What's funny is he actually only threw for 292 yards.
We saw.
He must have had 50 yards going into the fourth quarter.
Maybe at least.
But yeah, it was 26-0 in the fourth quarter. Texans to win the game and cover the spread, regardless of the number you got it at. Look, I'll say this. Huge win for the Texans. Obviously, horrific loss for the Jags. And the Colts are 8-2, so probably nobody in this division is catching them with the fact that the Jags lost yesterday. Not that the Colts have looked incredible the last couple of weeks. They haven't.
Yeah, no one's going to catch them.
But no one's going to catch them. They're going to win this division. We were talking about Houston possibly getting into the playoffs. I think we both said the Broncos game last week was a big one, that they kind of needed that one. But to come back and steal this one, it revives you a little bit. They go to Tennessee next week. They win that game. They're back to 500, and they finish with a very tough schedule. But it's the Bills at home, at the Colts, at the Chiefs, versus the Cardinals, versus the Raiders, at the Chargers, versus the Colts. So tough schedule. What would you say if I said I think the Texans are going to get in the playoffs at this point? You think I'm crazy, or do you think they actually have a shot?
No, I think they have a shot.
You have a shot? You would say, I think we said...
Their pass rush is unbelievable.
My
brother was talking about it the other day. It's like when Lawrence got the ball back, Trey was like, yeah, the problem with the Texans defense is when they know you're going to throw it, you're in a lot of trouble because you can't double both of their defensive ends.
Right.
And Lawrence dropped back, and he escaped, obviously, on that one because, he got out of the pass rush, but the other two he got smoked on. So.
Well, and that one is a time where they're dropping everybody too, right?
And also Liam Cohen, I don't know what he's doing, and with 7 seconds left, you have a guy that's already made a 71 70-yard field goal in the preseason, okay? It was going to be a 73-yard field goal. And the one that he made from 71, it got there by a yard or two, and you're in a dome. You tell Trevor Lawrence, if there's not anybody wide open, if your first read is not wide open, throw it over his head out of bounds, and you got to kick a field goal to try to win it.
I agree, and I will say this. I don't think he makes it from that distance, because if you watch the one that he made from 68, he had to punch that thing so low, and it got there with a couple yards to spare.
It's like winning the lottery. He would have had to kick it.
But I agree.
Where several people could block it. It has to get through.
Correct.
But I'm just saying.
I'm okay with him running a quick out for 5 to 10,
no.
and if it's not there, throw it away. That's what you're saying. I know.
You have to try to get a few yards. There's zero doubt. But you can't hang in there.
No, agreed. He drops back and is holding on to the ball.
Even if the field goal, you only have a 20 or 25% chance of making it, it's far better than throwing a Hail Mary or doing anything like that.
And even if he had completed a pass there, he's dropping back and hanging in the pocket.
And it was selfish of them because I wanted to see it attempted.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was like, throw the ball away, you asshole. I was rooting for the Texans anyway, but I was like, if they lose it a 73-yard field goal, I'm completely fine with it. I want to see it.
What's funny is everybody who had plus 1.5 was probably like, please don't try a 73-yard field goal and get blocked, and then they ended up not covering anyway. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I'm looking at the box score too. Like it's great. The Texans outgained them by 200 yards, 412 to 213. The Jags only had 213 total yards, and they had 3.9 yards per play. So despite the numbers show 29 points, but the defense kind of dominated them. The defense is really good.
Yeah, that's crazy stat. By the way, and this is completely off subject, but I have to talk about it. It was the most amazing thing. I know,
yeah.
If you want to see a box score, go look at Sam Houston State, Oregon State. Sam Houston State won the game, and they're the worst team in college football. They won the game.
They were winless, right?
Winless. They were 20-point underdogs to Oregon State. They were outgained by 325 yards, and Oregon State had 20 more first downs than them in the game, and Sam Houston State won by, 4? Yeah. They returned a kick and blocked the punt for a touchdown.
And I believe it was 7. I believe it was 7
offensive touchdowns.
I believe it was 17-0 to Oregon State.
Yeah, and they came all the way back.
I think it was 17-0 and they came all the way back.
Credit to that bunch. What a bunch of fight. That coach really knows what he's doing over there.
Let's see.
So long ago.
They had one. Okay, so they had
one offensive touchdown.
I'm just looking here. Yeah, their first one, it was 17-0, and they had a 35-yard touchdown after an interception. One play, 35-yard touchdown. Then they went, after that, they went 3 plays, 1 yard punt, 3 plays, 7 yards punt, 3 plays, 2 yards punt, 14 plays, 55 yards missed field goal, 3 plays, negative 10 yards interception, end of game, but somehow won the game. Like, I'm not even looking here. How did they?
It was a punt,
punt return.
Punt return and a kick return. A punt block, I think, and a kick return. Something like that. Yes. Or a pick six.
Yes.
But yeah, regardless, go take a look at that box score. Totally off subject, and it makes zero difference. But it was, obviously we've talked about Sam Houston State in the past. My brother played there, so it comes up in conversation. And he texted us like 6 o'clock in the morning. We woke up and was like, oh my God, go look at the score. He goes, I can't believe I missed it.
Dude, that's actually one of the funnier things I've seen.
320 yards outgained and lose by 4.
They threw for 43 yards and ran for 72, and they won the game.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. Anyway, moving on.
A lot of heart and determination.
Yeah, that they should have got the brookie this week.
No shit.
Okay, let's talk a few more quick things, and we'll go to college. We got about 35 minutes roughly. Yesterday, couple of impressive performances. Let's touch on 3 teams that have been impressive real quick, and then I'm going to ask you one question about the AFC, and then we'll move to college football real quick. Okay, Seahawks win 44-22. They've looked like one of the best teams in football. They're 7-2.
They sure have.
The Rams, and what's funny about yesterday is, real quick, sorry, I know I'll let you brag about the Rams. What's funny about yesterday is, by the way, you told me to go do that sleeper parlay, right? I told you the only one I didn't get. Was I threw Judkins in there.
I thought $20
it was a five player one for like $300, and it came. And if Judkins had scored for the Browns, I would have won.
Oh, I saw that too. He got the ball 22 times and didn't score.
Yeah, and I added him as the last one, and I should have just left him out.
Did they ever get down there?
From what I saw, no, I didn't watch every play of it. But Seahawks, what's interesting is if you look at Sam Darnold was 10 of 12. He threw 12 passes in this game for 178 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, and they scored 44 points.
Yeah, and the game last week, I believe they scored 35 first-half points against Commanders, and he had thrown for like 270 yards or something and 3 or 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yep.
I mean, listen, they They do a very good job. They're a very balanced team, right? They can run it. They can pass it. Smith-Njigba is unbelievable. He's been the best receiver in football this year by far. I think he was
unbelievable.
On pace. I think he was on pace for like 2,000 yards last I looked.
It's one of the best seasons I've seen in a long time. He only had 93 yards yesterday, but he has 63 catches for 1,041 yards through how many games have they played now? 9. So they have 8 games left, and he's got a legit shot to get to 2,000.
Damn well near 2,000.
Did Tyreek Hill get to 2,000 that year? He did, right?
I think he did.
But he didn't break the record.
I think that's correct. It was something along those lines. But, yeah, anyway, he's unbelievable. The Seahawks good. Defense is good. McDonald's done a really, really good job there. The Ravens are certainly missing him.
Yeah, they are absolutely missing him, and he's the coach of the year, in my opinion. I don't even think it's close.
And then we go to the Rams. I mean,
and the Rams won yesterday, absolutely dominated 42-26. They look like one of the best teams in football. And if you look at Mac Jones was 33 for 39 for 319 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Rams won by 16 in coverage.
Yeah, the Rams are just I think people didn't know how healthy Stafford was going to be.
That's my concern.
You add Devontae Adams to that team. They run the ball well with Kyren Williams. They've always been able to run it. The defense is pretty good. I mean, it's just, I think in the playoffs, it's a nightmare where it's like, you're trying to stop Puka and Adams and the run game. They're just a very dynamic, good team. I mean, on paper, I didn't know how good their defense was going to be. Their defense looks pretty decent. Obviously, Mac Jones put up good numbers, but keep in mind, the Rams went up in that game 21-0. So it was just at that point, they're giving up yards.
And not that they played anybody great the 3 previous games. It was the Ravens without Lamar. It was the Jags, and it was the Saints. But in those 3 games combined, they gave up 20 total points.
Yeah.
So they have been very solid. The first game against the Texans, they gave up 9. Titans, 19. The only teams that have actually had like significant success on them were the Eagles in week 3, and that was the same exact situation where they got up big and let them back in it. And then this week, right? So like both games that they've kind of gotten big numbers put up on them, they got a big lead and kind of sat back.
And then the big game this week against the Seahawks at home.
That's going to be a fun one. And the Seahawks have been perfect on the road. The Rams are, I believe, 3-1 at home. So that's going to be going. And then the last one I'll touch on real quick. Lions bounced back. Dan Campbell took over play calling duties this week, and they scored 44 points.
You know what I think he did? I think he was getting driven crazy that they weren't getting the ball to Jameson Williams. He's done like nothing all year, and he threw the ball to him like in the second half. I think I was watching it. I think he threw the ball to him like 10 times.
There was a drive, and thank God, thank you, Dan, because I have Jameson Williams in one of my fantasy leagues that I lost neighbors in. I had to have a win yesterday, and I was like 30% to win. And then after 2 drives where they spammed him, he caught like 8 balls and a touchdown and 100 yards. I won my game because of him. He saved my season.
And I just think that it just looks like he's definitely trying to make a point to do that. I think maybe St. Brown and was getting Laporta getting a lot of attention, and he's like, why are we? I'm sure, listen, there's zero doubt Jameson Williams was bitching in meetings and he's like, all right, we'll throw you the ball. And they threw it to him. Seemed like every play the second half. So, anyway, I was wondering why they don't utilize him more as well. If he stays out of prison, he's a fantastic player. He's always getting himself into trouble, but he's a very good player.
He definitely is. Okay, last question for the NFL. We'll go college football the last 30 minutes. Okay, if you look at the AFC right now, the leaders in the divisions, and I'm going to sub one of the leaders out for a different team, okay? The leaders in the divisions, and we've touched on some of them already. The Colts currently lead the AFC South. They're 8-2. The Denver Broncos currently lead the AFC West. They're 8-2. The New England Patriots currently lead the AFC East. They're 8-2. The Steelers lead the AFC North. I'm going to skip them, and I'm going to go instead to the Chargers, who are 7-3, second in the AFC West. Those are 4 teams that I think they're like the new up-and-coming challengers at this point, right? Like not just this year, but possibly going forward. I think at least for the Broncos, Chargers, and Patriots, because they all have relatively young or very young quarterbacks, good coaches, and who have only been there a year or two and are starting to get their feet under him with how they want to do things, and they're having a lot of success. And then the Colts too. Colts are the same thing, It's just the Danny Dimes thing is a little bit because of what we've seen from him in the past. But look what Sam Darnold's done. So that could be a Sam Darnold situation where he found the right fit.
Right.
But I guess my question to you is, of those 4 teams, is there one that you think A, has a legitimate shot to be a Super Bowl contender this year, like could actually win a Super Bowl, and then B, which of these teams do you think will all of these teams be contenders in terms of like competitive in the AFC for the next half decade, or is one of these teams more fraudulent than the others?
Which ones again? Broncos, Patriots.
So it's the leaders in the divisions plus the Chargers. Broncos, Chargers, Patriots, and Colts. Which one is most likely to win a Super Bowl this year?
Man, I think every single one of them is at least a year away. I think the Colts are a bit of a paper tiger. They can run the ball. I don't know how Danny Dimes is going to hold up in the playoffs, man. The defense is okay, right?
Yeah.
They're not great. I would say out of those teams this year, the Broncos, but I could see the Broncos losing in the first round too. The reason I say the Broncos is I don't know if Bo Nix can hold up in the playoffs, but the defense when they're at full strength is very good.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Bo Nix just, Sean Payton's smart enough to have him make the little dink and dump throws and, move the ball and have the defense win games. I mean, listen, they've won 70 games in a row. Some of it's been ugly. Some of them they have absolutely no business winning, but they find ways to win. I still think all those teams are probably, like, I would give the Baltimore Ravens at 4-5 right now a better chance of going to the Super Bowl than all those teams.
Really?
Yeah. I just think that the Ravens, first of all, like I told you, the Ravens are going to end up winning 6 in a row. They got 3 in a row. Then they have the Bengals, the Jets,
you're right.
and somebody else. I mean, they're just getting rolling, and I just think it could be one of those years where everything went bad at the beginning of the year, and things start to click because the offense still isn't clicking for the Ravens. They're not near as explosive as they have been. I think they'll get it figured out. Ultimately, I still think the Bills or the Chiefs are most likely to go to the Super Bowl.
I do too. I think that you're probably right. I think the Bills, Chiefs, or Ravens are probably those three.
Like if you gave me the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens, who are 6th, 7th, and 10th in the division right now versus the field, like everybody's going to take that.
Of course.
Right. So
because if one of those emerges, they're going to be more likely than anybody else.
Right.
But I guess what I would say is if I agree with what you're saying and everything is accurate. I think if you're looking at those 4 teams, there's not a single team on there who I don't have a doubt about. I think they all could be contenders in the future.
Right.
The Colts, to me, are the most fraudulent of the group. I've maintained that from day one. It's not that I don't think they're a good football team. It's not that I don't admire what Shane Steichen's doing. I think he's a good coach. I think Danny Dimes, good for him. I hope I'm wrong about him and he has a great rest of the year and has a long career with the Colts. I really do. I think he's a good guy, and I like Danny Dimes, even though we joke about him on the show. I just think that if anybody were to collapse in the next 2 years, like have a great year and it be a one-off, it's the Colts.
No, for sure. Yeah.
That said, if you're asking me who I think of those 4 is most likely to go to the Super Bowl, I think it's either the Patriots or the Chargers based on the fact that I think those 2 teams have the best quarterback.
Right.
And I think Justin Herbert is the best quarterback, so I want to say the Chargers, but I'm scarred by what I've seen from their defense a few weeks.
That's
when they're healthy, they look really good. When there's an injury, they're not. The reason the Patriots, the thing that gives me hesitation is the receiving core. If they had better receivers, there is a part of me that thinks Drake might be like Mahomes-esque in the sense that like he could win a Super Bowl in the first couple years of his career. I think he could be that good. I'm not saying he is, but there are times when I think he might be. There's some just throws he makes that are just like nobody else does.
Right, and Vrabel's a great coach too.
And I love Vrabel.
I just think I think out of those teams, who's going to be the best in the next 10 years, I would take the Patriots.
Yeah.
The next decade. For sure.
No, for sure. I 100% agree with that.
I just think you're going to they'll make a trade for a big play receiver. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't this year.
I know.
Maybe they just think like, hey, we're good, but we're a
year or 2 away.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what it is.
But, because that's the thing, and I know they have Diggs, but if they go out and get a receiver next year, or if they draft a young receiver that's really good, and in 2 years, the 2027 class is going to have some unbelievable talent coming out of that class, they got a chance to really build from within and be like a franchise team, like a team that wins multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I really
dynasty.
think they could.
Yeah, dynasty, I think they were trying to trade for AJ Brown at Also, shout out to Antonio Brown, free AB. There's no way he did it. Yeah.
For murder?
Allegedly.
Oh, I didn't say he did it. I said he got arrested for murder.
Allegedly attempted murder, right, Bailey? He didn't kill anybody, just an attempted. Yeah.
Because he was shooting a gun off. He was shooting a gun off at a concert.
Yep.
Can't do that. Not in today's day and age. Maybe like in the 1850s.
Is Johnny Cochran dead?
Yes, he's died. He died like 45 years ago.
It's too bad.
That might be too long.
If he was
20 years
ago.
Still
here.
When did Johnny Cochran die?
Can
we get a fact check? When did what is Joe Rogan's guy's name?
Jamie.
Jamie, can we get a fact check on that, Jamie? Johnny Cochran died in 2005. I was 20 years. Okay, 20 years. All right, let's move on. We only have about 25 minutes left. Let's talk some college football before, because I know you got to get out of here. Couple of things. We'll jump. We'll kind of go quick through some of this stuff.
The official first playoff came out last week.
Correct. It actually, funny enough, came out after we shot our college football show. We were talking about it. I thought it came out after this week, but it came out. The updated rankings are now out, and I'll give them to you real quick. I can put them on the screen.
I got them here.
Okay. So we've got
Ohio State, Indiana,
Texas
A&M.
Yep.
Alabama.
I'm
then
pulling
we have
Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia,
Ole Miss, BYU, Tech, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, OU. I don't know how Notre Dame is ahead of Texas.
God's
okay.
team.
We told you last week Notre Dame was going to spank Navy. Okay, but
what was the final score of that one?
They won 49-10, I think.
Yeah, it always happens.
It always happens that way. Okay, but we saw for the first time this week in that top three of the undefeated teams. There were only what, 4 I might have been looking at last week. Did it? Have they not updated yet?
No. They come out Tuesday night.
That's
always
why.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at these rankings right now, I was wondering how Texas was still 11.
Oh, and BYU is 7.
That's what I'm saying. BYU is going to drop out of there.
So where do you think? Question, because I'm a Texas Tech dropout. What do you think the Texas Tech Red Raiders go from there? Are they going to jump Ole Miss after that win?
No, absolutely not. In my opinion,
I'm just asking because Ole Miss. Because they have them at 8, right? And then you beat. Now, is BYU a fraudulent number 7 team in the country? Sure, but you beat the number 7 team in the country. You would think you'd move up more than one spot with one loss.
You would.
I will tell you this though, and we've had this conversation. Maybe they only move up one spot. If I am 90% sure on this. If Texas Tech wins their next 2 games and loses in the Big 12 championship, they're still going to get in.
No, 100%. I said that from day one. If they go 11-1 and lose, they're in for sure.
Yeah.
If they go 10-2, then they would likely not get in because I think there's going to be 1 or 2 SEC teams that are 9-3 that they would give a bid over Texas Tech. Because when you look at Texas Tech, the fact of the matter is they played. Without a doubt, this isn't a debate. They played the easiest non-conference schedule in the country. They played Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State.
Those teams are all on the up and up. Dude.
Those are the three of the worst teams in the country, and they have 2 ranked wins at Utah. Impressive. That's a good win.
Well, Utah's actually playing pretty good.
They're playing much better now than they were. They got them early game, weird deal, but they played great. They dominated them, and they dominated BYU. I think BYU, and we both agreed, is very overrated. They were one of the more fraudulent teams.
It should be like somewhere 20-25.
Correct. Now, do I think Texas Tech deserves to get in the playoff from this season? I do. I absolutely do. I think they're a playoff team. I do think when they get in the playoffs, they're probably going to get curb stomped by a team that's more talented than them.
I think if they play at home, like, for instance, they have, and I'll be honest with you, from what I've seen from them, and you might think I'm crazy saying this, they have first round, this is just a projected matchup. Oregon versus Texas Tech. I think
that's
Texas
a good matchup
Tech
for them.
could beat Oregon.
I don't know that they would.
At home, under the lights, or whenever they're playing it. That Texas Tech defense, the strength of the team, obviously, is their front 7 on defense. They're pretty good. Rodriguez is very good. Have they played anybody? No. So you just never know. Like, Are they that good? Are they not good at all? I mean, I think they're a talented club. I think they're fine. We just don't know how they're going to hold up against elite competition.
Yeah, and I think I grade them based on, do I think they can win a national championship? And I do not. And so I don't
think they can win a national championship, but I only think, Ohio State, as far as this year winning the national championship.
It's tough. I don't know.
It is. I think there's like 4 or 5 teams that can win it, but I don't think there's anybody else.
I just think that
it's wide open because there's no like dominant team, right?
Agreed.
But I just think that.
Here's the thing. Like, I would say this. I'm almost going to discredit what I said because I think about it and it's like, okay, let's say Texas Tech does get in and they get Oregon in the first round. They beat them. it's very matchup contingent now, the way the playoff system works, and it's very, very much, the way the seeding works out.
You
like
play A&M next.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think A&M is that great.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. That is the fun part of what this could create, and if we get a bigger playoff, that what this could create. However, I think, like, for example, and you might call me crazy, like, okay, let's say Arch Manning keeps playing really good, and Texas gets in. I don't think it would be the craziest thing in the world to say they could win a national championship because they have so much talent. I guess from that perspective, what I'm saying is maybe Tech could win a national championship because I don't know. We watched Indiana this week damn near lose to Penn State, who's been horrific, and I thought Indiana might be the best team in the country going into this week. I just think there's so much vulnerability from every team. Ohio State's the same way. Ohio State hadn't played anybody. They played Texas week 1 at home, barely beat them, got outgained, right? Texas really handed them that game. Texas wasn't very good at the time, and they really have played absolutely nobody since. Grambling State, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue. They're going to finish with UCLA, Rutgers, and at Michigan. And if they can get past the mental hurdle of getting a lead in the first quarter against Michigan, they're going to beat them by 30. So it's just, they're not going to play anybody to the Big Ten championship game. And then we're going to find out a lot about them when they play Indiana, because I do think Indiana is very good, despite what they showed last week. But I guess my point being is everybody has vulnerabilities. And whereas I'd say, yeah, more than likely one of these 4 or 5 teams will win it, I don't like for example, I don't think A&M is all that great, but like they probably have like the 4th or 5th best chance to win a championship. So I just think that, and I don't think that their odds of winning are all that much better than Texas's odds of winning if Texas plays a little bit better. Like, so it's a weird deal.
Yeah, Texas is definitely last week or when they played Vandy, they look good.
And we'll find out a lot about Texas this week.
Well, obviously they can beat anybody. It's just they just haven't been consistent.
Agreed, and that's the thing. We'll find out. To me, this is a huge week for Texas.
Right.
Obviously, in my opinion, we will find out this week whether Texas is a playoff team or not. Because in my opinion, if they win this week, they're going to get in the playoff. Because I don't see them losing to Arkansas the following week, although they sure made it interesting with Mississippi State and Kentucky. But I think if they're playing really good and they have back-to-back good games, they're off this bye, they get a little bit healthier. If they would go into Athens this week and beat Georgia, I don't even think it matters what happens the last game. I think they're in. That's a huge game for both Georgia and for Texas because Georgia loses that game. Now they have 2 losses. They're going to lose any tiebreaker to Texas. They're going to lose any tiebreaker to Alabama if Alabama loses again. And then they still have to play Georgia Tech, which is a rivalry game. And I don't think Georgia Tech's great, but they're better than they've been in years past at least. It's not an automatic win. They'll be a double-digit favorite at home in that game more than likely. On the other side, let's talk about a couple other ones on here. Like huge win for Vanderbilt this week. They were down 14-0 to start to Auburn. Their season is on the line. It's feels like the walls are caving in, and Diego Pavio was awesome. I think he threw for almost 400 yards. It might have been the most yards he's thrown for as a Commodore. He was 25 of 33 for 377, 3 touchdowns. He ran for 112 yards and a touchdown. I don't get why he's not getting more Heisman talk. To me, he's been one of the best players in the country. Well,
especially this year, right?
This year, Eli Stowers is going to be an absolute star in the NFL. He's unbelievable. He's like, to me, Brock Bowers-esque. He had 12 catches for 122 yards in that game. Every go-to play. And Vanderbilt delivered every single time. Credit to Auburn for playing well. It's the SEC. Crazy things happen. We've seen with different teams lose. Bama should have lost to South Carolina. Texas should have lost to Mississippi State, right? Like, everybody's good enough to beat everybody in this league. It's like really NFL-like. Credit to Vanderbilt. Do you think Vanderbilt wins out and gets in? Kentucky at home at Tennessee.
I'm going to say no, so they have a chance. Because I say yes, they have no shot.
Okay.
I honestly, in my honest opinion, is I lean no. I hope they do. And the only reason I say I lean no is because I just don't think this Kentucky game's a layup. Kentucky's playing far better. They should have beat Texas. They beat the fucking wheels off Florida last week. And Vandy, obviously a better team than Kentucky, but who knows? I mean, are they going to come out and play? I'll tell you this, if they come out and play like, they did this week against Auburn, I don't think they're going to beat Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Or, and they didn't play well against Texas. They had a great comeback. They made it very interesting at the end. They started slow. I didn't see the beginning of that game, so Bailey could tell us more about it, but started slow. never quit, and came back to almost win the game. Like I said, almost got on that onside kick, could have won the game. I do like Vanderbilt. I hope they get in. I think they're a playoff team. I think they're talented enough for sure to make the playoffs.
Right.
I just don't know if they win both those games.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, it's gonna be tough, but and you don't think that if they won and then lost a close game to Tennessee, they're not gonna get in?
I don't know. It's another interesting question.
Yeah.
Where do they have them in the rankings right now?
I think they were 16 going into this week.
Then no. If they're 16 going in this week, then
I think there's an argument to be made. I don't know if they'll actually get them in.
There's an argument, but I mean,
it's going to depend on how it plays out, and that brings up the ACC, which we had Notre Dame, or what was it? Let's see, Wake Forest and Virginia. Virginia was 8-1 going in, undefeated in the ACC, and we've kind of seen the top of the ACC fall apart the last 2 weeks, right?
Right.
Georgia Tech loses their first game of the season. We had Louisville got upset as an 18-point favorite this week. Virginia lost this week.
Thank God they changed the rules about the buys.
Oh, for sure, because the team in the ACC
horrible.
is not going to deserve a bye.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. And then we had, who was the other one that lost? Miami has lost now, too. I mean, you look at the ACC now, Georgia Tech 5-1, Virginia 5-1, Pitt 5-1, SMU 5-1, Duke 4-1. One of those 5 teams right there is probably going to get in because the teams with 2 losses with only a couple weeks left, it's going to be tough for, like, Louisville's got 2 losses, Miami's got 2 losses, everybody else has 3 or more. Is it set now with, like, I guess I'll ask you this quickly. I know we have about 15 minutes left.
No, that's fine.
Since all those teams lost, right? And now the only team in the overall rankings that has 1 loss, or like overall season standings that has 1 loss, is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has 1 loss. They're 8-1. Everybody else has at least 2 in terms of, not in the conference, but in overall, right?
Yeah.
And Georgia Tech still has Georgia left. Is there any scenario where the ACC gets 2 teams in, or after all of those losses, is it pretty much set? Like, let's say Georgia Tech wins out. Is that the only way? Georgia Tech wins out and loses in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, that's probably the
only way, right? So if Georgia Tech were to lose to Georgia that final game,
I mean, maybe if Miami won out and got into the ACC championship game, and then Georgia Tech beat them or something like that. I mean, well, no,
they'd have 2 losses.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're
I don't
right.
think an SEC team
more than likely it looks like just 1.
Okay, so 1 gets in, and we were talking about this kind of last week. I think the ACC is getting 1 because Georgia Tech still has to play Pittsburgh too. Is playing much better too. It's a home game, but they're going to have to beat Pittsburgh at home and then win at Georgia. Otherwise, they're going to go into the ACC championship game with 2 losses at least. And everybody else, I think, even just based on like name recognition, right? Like Virginia and Pittsburgh, if they finish 10-2 and lose in the ACC championship game, they're not getting in, right? So This is a 1-bid league. The Big 12 right now, if you look at the Big 12, BYU lost this week, right?
Yeah, the only way two Big 12 teams get in is if Tech loses to one of those teams in the Big 12 championship.
So you think, is that the only way? Is there any other way?
I think that's the only way. Unless they really like BYU somehow, BYU somehow misses out. Well, they could miss out because Utah could steamroll everybody and have 2 losses, a field goal loss to whatever, BYU, and then a loss to Texas Tech, and they would be like, in the conversation, I guess, if they steamroll the last 2 teams that play. I would say no, probably, but you're going to have that conversation with a 3-loss SEC team or a 2-loss Big 12 team. You know?
Yep.
It's just going to come up to committee discretion and all that. I mean, I would say that the SEC team's more deserving, but once again, then we get into we had like, okay, what are we doing? Are we just going to put all SEC teams in here? Not to say they're not deserving of it, because they certainly are, and play a tougher schedule. It's just, what is the committee going to do?
Right.
They're going to value the wins and losses. They're going to value who you played.
Right.
And like, even someone was talking about this the other day, and it's true. Like, someone was talking about A&M being 3rd. Now, do I think they're better than Ohio State? No. But when you look at it, and the committee apparently has been on the record saying they're going to look at strength of schedule, well, they are strength of wins, and they're number 1 in the country when it comes to that, because they're undefeated and they beat, Miami.
Yeah, they just played nobody else.
Yes. But my whole point is like, okay, well then why are they, you know what I mean? It's like, what, but the name recognition of Ohio State, right?
I agree with that.
Starting that high rank, but they've beat nobody else. Miami went on the road and beat Notre Dame. They also beat, they're playing in the SEC.
You're talking about A&M.
Yeah, A&M. So, they're playing in the SEC. They beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame, whatever, close game, won the game. But the point is like, okay, well, why do we have Ohio State ranked? Do I think Ohio State's better? Probably. But you know what I mean?
It's like you said last week, it's preseason ranking too and name recognition. But I do agree with you. Like, if you're just basing this on blindly looking at them, I think probably
that's why
make
the
either
argument,
Indiana or A&M.
Is always like, why have preseason rankings?
Correct. I agree with that 100% because it hurts other team. It hurts teams that are lower, like a team like South Florida early in the season was like had 2 of the best wins in the country and were like barely cracking the top 25. If you're just looking at it blindly, well, they look like a top 5 team. No, they weren't. But I agree with your point 100%. And the problem is, and it's the same problem that we have had forever in college football. Preseason rankings matter in the final ranking. The same thing for, like, let's say for Vanderbilt, right? Vanderbilt and Texas. Now, the only difference between the two is Texas did go on the road and play Ohio State, and that's one of their losses. So that's true. That gives them the nod for sure.
And that's not a loss, in my opinion. I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying, like...
But my point being is, even let's say Texas lost to somebody else, right? Say it was an SEC loss. Say it was like Vanderbilt's. If you flip their names probably, and they both have 3 losses, Texas started the season as number 1, Vandy started the season unranked. I think Texas probably gets in over them with 3 losses if they didn't play each other, like just based on name.
Right.
And so that's a problem. And then the other problem is we still have a recency bias. It
shouldn't matter when you lose.
It shouldn't matter when you lose, and that's the problem with this. And it's hard to not take it into consideration because it's like, who's playing best right now? But how can we say that? How can we take that into account? Why play early games in? Why have early games at all if we're going to do that? And that's why I think, like when we were arguing last week about playing these teams early on, and I think it should matter. I'm 100% on board with you with that. But it seems to me like a team that is 10-2. Like, let's say there's a team that's, or whatever, right? Right on the cusp of making it, and like Notre Dame, right? They lose their first 2 games and win the next 10. If they won their first 10 and lost the last 2, they're going to be lower ranked and maybe not get in. Whereas if the way they're doing it, they're in for sure with 10 wins right now, despite beating not a single ranked team. So I think that the fact that we include recency bias still, I don't know that there's a fix for that. It's always inherently been there. We saw it happen with, and I'm going to date myself with Texas, but Texas lost to Texas Tech the year with the Michael Crabtree catch. Texas beat Oklahoma on a neutral by double digits that year. But they lost to Tech the second to last game of the season on the last play of the game. And then the 2 teams that went to the Big 12 title were based on the BCS rankings, and the recency bias of it put Tech and Oklahoma ranked above Texas. So they played for the Big 12 title game. Oklahoma won and went to the national championship. And Texas had beat them on a neutral, and they both had 1 loss. But because Texas lost at that point late in the season, it cost them probably winning a national championship that year. It's just, that's my problem with college football is we don't get rid of this shit. It's so annoying to me that we're looking at that. Like again, Vanderbilt loses 3 games, but they win their last 7. They might have a better chance of getting in, but they lose that last game to Tennessee. I think they have no shot.
That's like with South Carolina when they went last year, and everybody's like, well, they're playing the best right now.
And they did, and to the committee's credit, they left him out, and they should have. They should have left him out. They should not have been over everybody.
Overall season resume, not what you're doing. The only time that is effective, and I said they got it right. I said I know no one's going to like it, and a lot of people argued with me, was the Florida State when, what's his name, got hurt. Jordan Travis or whatever his name got hurt. They were undefeated. He got hurt. They played 2 games after that, right? And they were they managed to win the game, so credit to them. But it's like, is this team anywhere near a top 4 team in the country?
Yep.
And it sucks that. But as a product, and trying to, there's doing what's right, and there's doing what's putting, like, they're not the 4th best team in the country, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So the committee in NCAA basketball tournaments always had that. As one of their, what you can grade them on. Like, if you lose your best player, then we're gonna you're not gonna be a 1 seed, you're gonna be a 3 seed or whatever, for the integrity of the tournament. And that sucked when that happened to Florida State. Feel bad for Norvell because it pretty much derailed everything there, but
Yep.
I mean,
no, it really
you can't put a Florida State. Like, I forgot who they played, but it's like they won by like
Louisville in the ACC.
I mean, like, and they had like 150 yards of offense.
They ended up winning. I think they scored late and won by double digits, but it was so embarrassingly bad. It was like a tie game going into the fourth. They couldn't move the ball.
And it's like, if they play that year, I don't know if it was Bama or whoever's number one, they're going to lose by 100 points.
Okay, last question, and then we can be done here. Just because we're talking about college football playoffs, we've kind of touched on really all the games from last week. We're not going to preview the games. We'll hopefully get our picks out later in the week. Just looking at the standings and talking about, okay, let's say, for example, let's just say for sake of argument that the Big 12 and the ACC each get one team in, and then we get one group of 5 team in. That's 3 spots. Now that's
3.
That's what I was going to ask you. There's 9 spots left. What is the most? I guess my question is, what is the most teams the Big 10 get in? Because when I'm looking at it right now, you have 3 teams that have 1 loss or less: Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. Those teams are all very likely to get in, because even if Oregon were to lose to, say, USC or Washington, but won the other 2, I think at 10-2, Oregon gets in, especially now that win at Iowa is going to look good. Iowa's been much better than people thought, so that's a big win for them. 10-2 to me, with losses to Iowa, who probably finishes ranked, and Indiana number 2, they're going to get in regardless. Indiana and Ohio State are already locks.
I don't expect them to do it, but if
Michigan, USC,
USC
or
beats,
Iowa.
USC has Iowa, Oregon, UCLA. If they win those 3 games, they're in with 2 losses. They'll put USC in.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah, they have Iowa or now. Do I think they're going to do that? No, I think they'll lose one of those games.
They're going to lose at Oregon at least.
But I'm saying that. I actually think Iowa will beat them at USC this week. I think Iowa's a pretty good football team.
I think Iowa's good too. They should have beat Oregon last week.
Unfortunately for Iowa, they have 3 losses, so they're out. Obviously, Michigan is going to lose, but a 2-loss Michigan team.
So that's
with
the thing.
Well, if they beat Ohio State, then yeah.
So that's the thing. They wouldn't get it. Assuming they win the next 2. Assuming they win at Northwestern, at Maryland, because look, they beat Purdue by 5 at home this week. But if last week, and that, by the way, that was my college survivor pick that week, was Michigan.
Funny.
That's 2 weeks ago.
And then it would be 6 in a row if they run the table.
Sure. If they win out, they're absolutely in. I guess my question to you is, do you think that any of those things happen? Do you think that either Michigan or USC run the table and get in? And if not, I guess, do you legitimately think 6 SEC teams get in?
No, I think that's what I'm saying. I think that the committee, I think they'll put somebody else in.
Okay,
I just think they're going to do it.
Okay,
I think there's going to be 5 SEC teams.
Let me ask you this then. Okay, let's say Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon all win out.
Right.
Which then means that USC has at least 3 and Michigan has at least 3. So everybody else in the Big Ten has at least 3, right? Everybody has at least 3. Let's say Tech wins out and wins the Big 12. And BYU has 2 losses. Let's say they lose 1 more, even if it's not in the conference championship game. And the ACC, we already said, is only getting 1 in. At that point, is there a legit, do they put a 2-loss? They put a 2-loss BYU or a 2-loss Cincinnati, or do we get a 3-loss? Because if I'm looking at it right now, A&M, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. Those are the 7 teams that have 2 or less losses. I still think Oklahoma will lose 1 more. But again, if Vanderbilt here's the thing. If there's a legitimate shot that Vanderbilt finishes with 2 losses, there's a legitimate shot that Texas finishes with 2 or 3. There's Ole Miss, Georgia, Bama, and A&M are probably all going to finish with 2 or less. I think actually I think the more likely outcome, let's say if Vanderbilt wins out, the most likely team that it comes down to is Texas, because Texas would then have 3 losses. And it would be between Texas with 3 losses or BYU with 2. Texas with 3 losses or Georgia Tech with 2. Texas with 3 losses or Miami with 2. I don't know. Oh, but I forgot. I'm leaving out Notre Dame. That's a spot 2. So again, Texas with 3 losses, Notre Dame with 2. Who gets in?
Oh, God's team, please.
No, in all seriousness, do you actually think they would do that?
They would put Notre Dame
What
in.
if Texas beats Georgia and loses by 1 to A&M? And their losses are 1 to A&M, 7 at Ohio State.
I think they're more likely to get in, with you said, with recency bias, is they need to they could lose to Georgia in a close game on the road and beat A&M.
But I'm just saying,
and then you say, okay,
one
they
or
lost
the other.
in a close game.
Okay,
lost to Ohio State. Then
lose by 1 to Georgia. Okay,
yeah.
I guess I'm just asking you this then.
Whatever.
Lose by 1 to Georgia, beat A&M, and it comes down to, what if it came down to Notre Dame, Texas? three.
It wouldn't. They would.
I know it
there's
wouldn't.
gonna be
But
another
who would you say deserves to get in? If you're being unbiased, you're the one who says
probably Texas. But my whole thing is that's all up to the committee and the
Agreed.
senses. Do we want to reward people playing? Because here's the thing.
Agreed, and they haven't.
If they don't give in to that, then that's not gonna. It won't come down to that. They'll boot somebody else for Notre Dame.
Agreed.
There's going to be another SEC team with 3 losses. For sure, whether it's Vandy, whether it's Tennessee, whether it's Oklahoma.
Tennessee already has 3, but it could be Oklahoma.
Whatever.
They go to Bama this week. They're going to lose.
Whatever. And the point is, Notre Dame's going to get in over all those.
Yeah.
If it came down to Texas and Notre Dame, the argument Notre Dame fans would say is this. Sure, we've played nobody, right? But our 2 losses were by 1 at home to A&M with a hold call that everybody still talks about, and to Miami, which was the first week of the season, and both those teams, like A&M, whatever's a top 5 team, Miami, by the time the season ends, I would assume they're going to be a top 25 team, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. It's an interesting debate. I think there's a chance an SEC team gets screwed out of it because if BYU, for instance, let's see who the remaining schedule is. Say they win.
By the way, it is 5:30, so
yeah, it's good. If TCU, they play TCU this week, but say they run the table and they beat TCU, they beat Cincinnati, and they beat UCF, right? I don't think they will. I think they'll lose one of those games, right? But if they don't, and they go to the Big 12 championship and they play Texas Tech to a 1-score game, then it's like, okay, they lost in Lubbock handedly. Are we penalizing these guys for losing the conference championship game?
No, if
and
it's just the conference championship game, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be hard. But again, I don't think they deserve to be in, but they probably will get in.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like the question of SMU last year, and it was like they didn't leave SMU out. They set a little bit of a precedent there that with 11-1 team that loses in the conference championship game in a Power 4 conference doesn't get in. But then again, they left Florida State out for Alabama that year, so you never know what they would do. You never know.
Yeah.
And I will say that I believe the head of the oh my God, this motherfucker. The head of the committee, I believe, is a Big 12 guy. The head of the college football playoff is a Big 12 guy.
Right. It's just it's like I said, and the thing with it is you have all these other conferences who are Power 4 conferences. Are they as good as SEC? Absolutely not. But I'm just saying that's why you see realignment coming. It's going to happen where it's like they're going to get a set number. Might not be 4, right? It might be 2. They might expand the playoff to 16 next. I think that's both what you and me think. And then there's probably at least 2 auto bids, right?
Yep.
To make sure every conference gets 2 in.
Agreed.
And then you get that largest. Whatever.
Agreed.
But yeah, they got to figure it out. Hopefully they get the right teams in there, but they never do, so.
All right, that wraps our show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like the video, comment below. We'll be back next week, hopefully, for our 100th episode with some special stuff planned. But thank you guys
for 99.75.
That's right. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time.